is a defeat. We think it is a victory of great proportions, a reflection of something marvelous discovered within. I am apt to think of that day as a kind of epiphany. We will see more evidence of this in years to come, when she ends up teaching kindergarten in a poor area of the Deep South, and stands up, again and again, to some of the darker forces in our society, manifested in their crudest incarnations. But as I write this, I am reminded now that this is the first evidence of the power and strength of her spirit, and her willingness, when summoned, to find and give more of herself than anyone expected. I thought of all this, what women's sports helped find and give to our daughter, as I read Daniel Boyne's The Red Rose Crew, about an American women's crew that came from nowhere to take second, against all odds, in an international race in 1975 in England, losing out to an East German crew by a few feet, with an awareness that the East German crew was, like nearly all athletic representatives of that dreadful country, almost surely coked to the gills with steroids. Boyne's is not only a very good book, actually quite a marvelous one, but it is a very important book as well. It is by far the best book that I know of the pioneer years, when against unspeakable odds, and in the face of unpardonable stupidity and sexism, women's sports in America began to come of age. The Red Rose Crew is, in fact, a classic, and it belongs on any number of lists. A list of sports thrillers. It's a great read, almost impossible to put down. A list of the changes wrought by the women's movement that began in the 60s. And finally, a list of good books on American history, for it is a book that tells how things really happened and describes the formidable forces aligned against the women who led the way. The young women in this book are pioneers. They triumphed not merely over the favored Russian and Romanian women in England, but also back in their own country, against all the prejudices of the era about what women were not supposed to do. They triumphed, despite poor, indeed unspeakable, practice facilities, obtuse, disingenuous college athletic directors and ignorant rowing officials, and narrow-minded, smug male rowers. The gold for truly appalling behavior goes to the crude Yale oarsmen of that era. What they did was remarkable, standing up for themselves and for those yet unborn. One has a sense, reading Boyne, that they were always aware of their dual responsibilities. They wanted to row for their own pleasure and rewards, and felt they had earned the right to do so, but they were also acting for those still to come, their daughters, so to speak, asking the age-old questions of those who challenge an outmoded, rotted hierarchy. If not us, who? And if not now, when? Sometimes now, when I lecture at a college, someone will ask where all the heroes have gone. Why don't we have heroes like Ted Williams or Joe DiMaggio, or other good athletes of their childhood? It is a fascinating question, and it presupposes that there were heroes back then, and that someone who is a better baseball player because he had slightly better eyesight than his peers is indeed a hero. I have my own quirky list of heroes, and it rarely jibes with the conventional list, accepted by those who decide these things. My heroes tend to have done something that matters in the long run, that changes things and makes this a more just and democratic society, and who in the process have often gone against the prevailing prejudices of the era. By that scale, this is both a book and a boat filled with heroes. The millions of women, like my daughter, who have participated in different sports since the Red Rose Crew challenged the rules, are in their debt. And I, too, still the proud father from Lake Quinsig, remain in their debt. There is one other hero in this book, and he is an unlikely one. Boyne's book is, in a way, whether intended or not, an homage to Harry Parker, the Harvard rowing coach. As I write this, Parker has been the varsity rowing coach there for 43 years. It is arguable that he is not merely the